Hi, this is Linda Burton.
And this is Joseph Burton.
With Generation to Generation. Today we're going to talk about midlife crisis and menopause. And I picked this topic because it's so real. Like we're going to hit it sooner or later if we live long enough. And I think we need to talk about it. We need to know, how does it affect our marriage and our relationship, and what can you do or know about it to help yourself now, or to prepare yourself now, your mindset for this. I learned you have it between the age 45 to 55. And that's pretty much it. So, Kathy, can you share more with that?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Can you share more about that?
Okay, well, there are stages. There's perimenopause. That means that you aren't at that age, that stage of when most women go through it. I have a family member that has been going through it, and she's not 45, but she's been going through it for years. And so I guess everyone's body is different. And there are some common denominators, and the age is what you mentioned before, but there's a lot that happens because your body is now not producing as much estrogen as it did when you were younger. And so there's a lot of changes that are going on. That's why they call it the change, because there's so many different changes that your body is going through. And your bones are, you've got to be careful about your bones. You can have osteoporosis, and your bones can fracture more easily. And there's just so many things that go on. There's mood swings and mood changes. And sometimes you can cry at the drop of a hat. And sometimes you can just have these outbursts where you're angry and you don't even know why. And so there's a lot that happens, and some women have not been able to handle it well because maybe they didn't know what was going on. Maybe no one ever explained it to them. But it's important to know so that you can kind of prepare yourself. So I heard horror stories, when I was younger, and my mom actually had a friend who she actually kind of lost it and had to go to a facility for, some time, just so that she can get her head back on straight, because your hormones are just out of whack. And our hormones have a lot to do with how we feel, how we think, how we behave. And so there's all this that's going on. And in the middle of it, you've got hot flashes, you've got night sweats, you're teary, you're emotional. There's all this stuff going on, and you just feel like you're going to lose your mind. Well, you're not going to lose your mind. You're just going through the change. And the change happens, when you finally get out of your 20s and your 30s. By the time you hit 40, you know a little something. So you feel very confident. At least for me, I did at the age of 40. I finally felt like, I'm getting this. I know who I am, and blah, 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 blah. You feel like you understand life more because you've gotten to this age where you've had 40 years to have this learning happening in your life, not just with yourself, but with your spouse and other people. So you feel confident. You feel like, hey, I got this. I know what I'm doing now. You don't feel so vulnerable. And then you hit menopause, and all that goes out the window, because you have this stage where all these things are happening. There's weight gain, especially in the middle. There's parts of our bodies that droop, whereas they used to, so there there's a shift. I'll say it like that. There's a shift in certain body parts, and it can be very distressing, and that's why I believe it's so important to be married to someone that understands you and loves you for who you are, not how you look, because your looks are going to change. You know, the hair is going to turn a different color. You know, we were talking about that earlier, and you don't want to see that, you know, because gray hair signifies old. And you know, actually the Bible, there's a passage of scripture and it actually talks about gray hairs, that you actually have wisdom, that you've learned some things, that you know more than you did when you were in your early 20s or mid 30s or what have you. So there's an advantage, but then there's also the disadvantage. It feels like the body snatchers. Somebody stole my body. I don't feel the same way. I don't look the same way. I'm not acting the same way, and I don't like it. But what can you do about it? I mean, it's a natural process. It just happens because we're female. Now, I've heard that men go through a menopause. I don't know that, but I've heard that men go through what they call the midlife crisis, but it's in comparison to what women go through, but not as bad.
And I don't know if it's chemical introduced, like the lack of producing estrogen.
Estrogen, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if it has anything to do with the biological or the chemical.
It has a lot to do with it.
I mean, for men.
Oh, for men, yeah, because
yeah.
you guys don't have estrogen.
Yeah. So I don't know.
We have some estrogen.
Yeah, but it's
Real.
It's minute.
Yeah.
Compared to women.
What they say, 6%? Is it 6% or is it?
See, that's why I didn't even mention it.
6%.
Oh, is it 6% or 0.06?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
It's 6%. I think we have 6% estrogen, 94%. And you guys are, I guess, reverse, maybe 84. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that. Look it up.
Yeah, we're not experts. You know, we're not experts at this, but I just know, and I'm just speaking from experience, what has happened to me. You know, your skin changes. You don't have the tone that you had, you know, where your skin is supple, and you know, so the cosmetic industry makes a lot of money, boatloads of money, because we're in the state of denial. We don't want to feel like we're getting old, but that's what we do. You know, that's what the body is doing. So we can't deny it. So we try to mask it, and we try to cover it up, and we try to shade it and make it look different. But the age is still the age. I am 70 years old, and I have never felt better about who I am as a woman. I feel much more confident than I did in my early years, and
well, I like you,
and I'm so glad. Thank you. So it has its advantages, but I think cosmetically, we think about the outside, what's going on the outside. We don't understand everything about what's going on the inside, but on the outside, it's screaming, I'm getting older, I'm getting older, I'm getting older. Okay, we all are getting older, but sometimes we just want to squash it.
Now, do they give you, so does estrogen pills counteract something, or do women take estrogen pills?
You can. And I was asked to do that, and there was a medication on the market some years ago, and my doctor tried to get me on it, and for whatever reason, here's somebody that's gone to school for 8 years or so, and I told him no. I just said no, and I didn't back off of it, and then I had to have an exam. And this same another doctor tried to get me to take these pills, and I just said no. For whatever reason in my heart, I just said no, we're not going to do that. And about 2 months later, they pulled that particular estrogen medication off the market because they found out it was giving women breast cancer.
Wow.
So you know, it depends on you. And sometimes you can go into the history of your own family and see what did they go through and how did they, you know, like my mom, she never had a hot flash, you know, and I remember hot flashes, getting, you know, waking up and the pillow was wet, my gown was wet, whatever I had on was wet, and I had to get up and change. And so, you know, it is what it is, but it's life. So either embrace it or deny it.
Yeah. I think it's really important to have a good relationship, because it's during times like that, that can really make a person vulnerable.
Right.
I haven't had that experience, but I can understand and imagine how vulnerable a person feels when they're going through something like that, babe. And you really don't, you know, you have this word for it, menopause, but you really don't know how to control it. And you find that you can't control it, but it's doing stuff to you that society may say you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't look like that. You know, our society says you can't have this, and if you do, then it's not attractive. At 74, I got over that. But
You're not 74.
What am I?
72. We're 2 years apart.
Okay. Well, at 72, I got over that. You know.
You know, over something. You can't wait to 74 to come.
Joe, I switched. I switched to eternal time, so sometimes I forget.
That's what I want you to talk about and explain too.
Eternal time?
Yes. That's how you said you dealt with midlife crisis, of doing that, of switching to.
Well, it helped. I actually switched because of the biblical concept of eternity, and that's really why I switched. Accepting Christ shifted me to another concept and a new idea. So I switched to eternal time, but that helped me through the idea of midlife crisis. Midlife crisis is this concept of I have to acknowledge that time is running out. I've lived half of my life and only have half a life to live left, and if that long. And quite often some of the challenges of that is whether or not I've done what I think I should have done, if I feel fulfilled in my purpose, and or if I'm just in a non-purposeful job, just spending time doing this. And if that's the case, sometimes I might wrestle more with I have to hurry up and get something done. I got to do something. I want to hold on to youth, which is just a false. It's not true. It's a false sense of I'm gonna hold on to my youth. No human can hold on to youth. Okay, so
every day you
age, and so it's a false premise to live by. But if you're living on that premise, it may cause you to do something crazy. Okay, you know,
make rash decisions.
Yeah, and so in your 20s, you generally you depending on how you grew up, who gave you advice and that kind of thing. In your 20s, you usually are trying to keep up with what our idea of what success looks like, and so the industry, the commercial industry, is taking advantage of us. Then they're issuing you credit cards and giving you all kinds of credit, get you to buy stuff because you're trying to have what you think you should, what says we're successful or we're okay. We tend to get in more debt than we should get into. And then that creates other struggles. And then as we struggle through that, through our 20s, struggling through being in debt with too much debt and not having enough money to pay our bills,
and then not even being satisfied with what you got in debt
Mhm,
for.
mhm, mhm. And so as we struggle with that through the 20s and that, because in our 20s we tend to think the stuff that we have is what really is making our identity. We're identifying with the stuff. In other words, the stuff makes me who I am. Not really. Okay, but once you struggle through that, pay for it, you finally learn something. You know, we buy cars that we didn't need. We get into debt we shouldn't get into. We pay more for things that we should have paid for, and we struggle through this. And it's because we're making bad choices, because we're trying to identify with something. Okay, so once we get out of 20, sometimes depending on who we are, that can get us into 30s. We can go through the 20s into the 30s, 35, something. But by the time we get to 40, we're hopefully settling in. We realize I don't have to have that brand new car. I don't have to have it because it's not going to change who I am. Okay, and if I like it and I can afford it, I can go get it. But what I'm not going to do is get something I can't afford. Okay, and so that starts to happen to us. We start to, and then that helps us make better choices, helps us make better, as long as there's nothing else attached to us, like we didn't get caught up in drugs or something, because that can really change the game for us. But as we go through 40s, get 45, we get comfortable with who we are, more secure. But just think in terms of, you're getting close to 49 or 50. Okay, now if I'm 50 and I haven't done the things that, and I'm not comfortable with my life, and I haven't bought the house, or I haven't did this, and I got all of these bills and all that kind of stuff. Now I can kind of get desperate, because I'm feeling like I'm running out of time. That's the midlife crisis. I'm feeling like I'm running out of time. For some people, it's debt and under debt. Other folks, it's I haven't had fun. I haven't had enough fun, and I'm getting old, and I can't have the fun I want to have or used to have. And so we do stuff to try to disguise, hide, that kind of thing. We'll take anything that makes us feel better, and that kind of. The industry is really high on making a lot of money on giving us a false sense of energy, all of those kinds of things. Okay, and we're paying money for that, paying buku money for that. now it's one thing to be, vitamins for health. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about stuff that's advertising to give you extra energy, a false sense of energy, or you gonna be this.
You're gonna be the man.
You're gonna be the man again. All that kind of stuff, and then charge you crazy money for that stuff. Okay, so I don't get it. You know what I'm saying?
Without us saying
it. That kind of thing. We may tend to in our struggle to be the man again, we'll buy, depending on who you are in your head, who you are in your head, you can buy stuff that just doesn't make sense at all. I have I have this 89 Corvette. Okay, and you would say a 70-year-old guy with an 89 Corvette. Well, I like the Corvette. I don't have the age problem with it. I like the car, and the car is paid for, and I'm not gonna go buy a new one.
If I had the money, I would buy him a new one. But hey, that's okay. At this point, that's vintage, so it's worth some money.
So this is what I'm saying. You can get in real traps like that, and the traps make you feel desperate. In the quest to get away from the desperate, you do or make bad or worse choices and do crazy stuff, trying to keep the youth.
Hold on
To something that's is really not yours in the first place, and the idea that you can hold it or disguise it is really a lie. It's a non-truth.
Fabrication.
You know, I watch a lot of I'm on YouTube a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And YouTube has changed a lot because you got all these commercials, man. All these commercials. And commercials.
Oh yeah.
One of the commercials that they have now, a lot on there. And I don't know if I clicked on something, but one of the commercials is about these bodybuilders, right? And they're explaining, you know, how you're burning, what calories does or what carbs does. They're trying to get you to get, you know, to get back in shape. But they always have, well, I'm not gonna say always, but like 9 times out of 10, it's all these young guys.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? These young guys on there. I'm like, yeah, I remember when I was 25, 28, you know, with a body and stuff. But like, you know, and then every once in a while you'll see an older gentleman on there, 65 or 55 and stuff like that. But it's like, but most of the time it's young people that they, you know, you go to the eye doctor and you're trying to find some cool glasses, some cool specs to frame. And you look at the pictures on the wall, and they're all in their 20s and 30s.
Yep.
It's like, we're the older people. We're still here. but it's just like a lot of, I don't know if a lot of young people are into exercising now. Right? Or is it just because when I was young, I didn't think about exercising. I wasn't a gym rat. I was, you know what I mean? Why did I need to worry about my weight?
It's an industry.
Yeah, right?
It's an industry. And so because it's an industry, it's all about bringing in that money.
Yeah.
Whatever you can do, bring in that money. And youth always captures people's attention. Because people can remember when they were that age. They can remember what they look like, and they try to go back, but you can't. I mean, you can tone your body and you know, get in shape so that you feel better, you look better, but they do it as a trap. You know, they're trying to entrap us. And because it's an industry, like any industry, it's all about retail, sell. And if we can sell, hey, more money for us in our pocket so we can buy some more boats.
Yeah, you'll be. They're gonna have gym memberships, and the thing about it, and I think I said it before, it's just that getting older, man, your body does not work for you, you know, like it did when you was younger.
Right.
You got so much more effort that you have to put in, so much more discipline that you have to put in to maintain. Because I remember losing 24 pounds. And when I lost 24 pounds.
Wow. And
I did it for like 5 months. But it just, well, something stopped me. Like it got hot one day and I stopped walking because it was like 110 degrees. I used to walk 4 miles every day. I would walk 4 miles every day. And then it was real hot. It was too hot to walk. That was the start of me gaining all my weight back. So it was like, right. So it's like you could just see the weight just creeping back up. You know, I was at 194, and then I was like 196. Like, okay, I'm gonna get it back down to 194, right? So I had to put in that effort, you know, put some effort in, go back down to 194. Then I sat down a little long, and then 198. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like your body is not helping you. It's trying to help you a little bit. You know, it might kickstart your metabolism a little bit, but you're still, how old was I then? 48, I think, at the time. I probably was 48. But it's not like when I was 20, 24, 26.
Yeah.
You know, when I can eat, you know, Oreo cookies and have the energy and just walk down the street and maybe lose 3 pounds. just walking.
Oh gosh.
I did that now at 52. Ate a pack of Oreos and walked down the street, and my body was like, ain't taking off no weight. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, because our metabolism is slowing down.
Right. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's just so much. So it's like, man, you're like, what do I do? Because you know what? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just you get tired of the work. And the food tastes so good, you know, and like, man, you haven't, you know, I'd be like, if I go without soda for like 3 weeks, right? And like, okay, and I drop some pounds, because you can drop, I can lose about 5 to 10 pounds if I stop drinking soda. So, but then we go, Linda might go, you know, let's go to the movies. Ah, okay, we go to the movies. Well, if I go to the movies,
Popcorn with the butter.
I got to have a pie. I don't put no butter.
Oh, okay.
But I get my popcorn, I put my salt on it.
Butter.
And you know what? Juice does not taste well, and water does not taste well with popcorn.
I'm with popcorn.
Gotta have the carbonation, you gotta have the soda.
Right.
Big long.
Something that costs you almost $5.
Let me get the medium. What a large for $2? You know what? It's only 70 cents. Go ahead and get that to the large. And then that soda tastes so good, man.
Yeah.
Man, that tastes so good. Then go.
And
get
they
this-
know it. They know it.
So it's like,
Yeah.
man, it's like, what do you do? So I just applaud those people who can just have that kind of discipline to stop drinking soda, and then I haven't had soda in 3 years.
What's wrong with you? What's your problem?
So
Oh,
they got me.
yeah.
I'm
And
cracking.
you know, Joe, it's an industry. Having worked retail, I know how the industry works. It's a mind game. You know, they play with your mind. They use psychologists to try to trap you so that you can continue to have those habits, so that they can buy more boats and maybe a plane or two. You know.
Yeah, so our commercial industry is really, a lot of it is built upon just feeding on our insecurities. And you know, that idea of I'm gonna hold on to it as long as possible is the concept that they use to really just keep making money from you. Because it's a false premise. First of all, it's a false. It's the difference between trying to stay healthy,
Yeah.
or trying to stay young and attractive in the youth attraction. You know, it's a different world. It's a whole different thing, and even the physical abilities change. And the sooner you can accept the change in the physical ability, the better off you are. You can really get in trouble trying to act like you're 20 when you're 60. You can get in trouble trying to do the things like you. Man, we used to make fun of each other if we couldn't get this work, because I used to work for Edison. And we would race each other doing work on poles. I wouldn't think about trying to climb a pole. I could probably do it, but I wouldn't even think about doing something like that.
I wouldn't let you.
You know, I started on the deck here at the house. I was younger when we started it, when I started working on it. And now it's gonna take me a minute to finish it.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's because I put up some lights around here for Christmas. I used to do all of that in maybe four hours or something like that. We're working on 3 or 4 days now.
Oh,
because you got to know yourself.
You have to pace yourself.
You got to pace yourself, and you got to know your body, because them pains are telling you something. They're telling you something.
Sit down.
You might want to go sit down somewhere, because if you ignore that and try to plow through that, you'll be down for a day or two. You know, that kind of thing. This stuff where they shoot you a picture of this attractive young girl and then tell you this stuff here will help your libido.
Uh-oh.
They making bucks behind stuff like that.
I'll be in the emergency room.
or else in the cemetery.
What to do? In the emergency room, man.
Yeah, you just might want to understand your pace and hang out where you are. Is much better to be realistic about who you are than to try to be something you're not. And it's important that you have a good relationship with each other, so that you can be yourself and not try to hide from each other. You know, it's safe to be who you are. I do naps now in the afternoon. Babe, I think it's time for me. I'm gonna go take my nap now, and it's okay. Okay. So I'm not trying to be up all day and then hang out all night and all that kind of stuff. That don't work for me anymore.
Because you can be 60 years old, 70 years old, and have a lot of energy, but it ain't like it's not like when you were 20.
No, it's a different energy.
For 70, oh yeah, you're in good shape. You got muscles. You can run the marathon, but you ain't 20. No. And it's like I was thinking about that the other day. It's like, man, I mean, because you can get your energy back later in life, right? You can, like you were saying, Pastor Kathy, you can start working out, toning your body and stuff like that. You can start doing that kind of stuff, right? Nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to try to be in a contest against a 20-year-old that's in shape too,
you're gonna lose.
The 20-year-old in shape, just like they work out just as much as you work out at 70.
Apples and oranges.
Huh?
Apples and oranges.
Apples and oranges. I'm telling you. Yeah, you're older and you have some discipline and wisdom. But you got some pretty talented and wise younger people that are dedicated and they eat right. They know what they need to do.
Right.
You'll be in trouble, man. That's why there's no 70-year-old basketball players.
They'd be all on the floor, panting and having heart attacks, and the camera is running. What happened to him? What happened to him? Man, I don't think he made it. Just take him out on a stretcher.
Yeah, you don't see no. I think the oldest person I ever saw that when I was watching basketball, I think it was Jordan. He played in his 40s. I think he was 40.
Was he 40 something?
40. I think he was 40, maybe 42. I can't remember the age.
But, and that's a very physical game.
Yeah. And he's still pretty good, but you got those 20-year-olds out there.
Yep.
20-year-old knees.
Yep. So I think really that is the challenge for men in midlife is to recognize where you are and learn how to accept who you are and be all right with yourself. Because if you're not all right with yourself and you're trying to be somebody else, it just
comes back and bites you.
That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, if you're an older man, and that's a comedian, I'm about to go into the comedic realm. So this comedian was saying that, you don't think you can have a younger woman. I can be at the dinner table with a younger woman and I start to have a stroke and she be like, why are you making funny faces at me? I can't have no younger woman. I need an older woman that knows a stroke when she see a stroke and she can save my life. But the young girl, she all, You know what? Take me home. And you over there dying and stuff. So yeah.
Oh goodness.
You got me dying and I'm in the hospital. You didn't recognize a stroke. Girl, get on out of here. Going back to my old lady.
That's why it's good to, you know, there is an advantage to growing old together. In fact, we had this conversation today. Growing old together puts you at an advantage because you want to take care of one another. You know, when he says, I'm gonna take a nap, I'm like, have at it, you know, go take your nap, do what you need to do. And so you give each other grace. In a good relationship, you know, you taking a nap again? You know, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Are you feeling all right? You know, rather than just say, hey, the man needs to close his eyes and rest his body. You know, this one gets up between 4:30 and 5, you know, and so he's been up much longer than I have. So I'm not as tired as he is because we're out of sync when it comes to time. But in fact, we were having the conversation that God knew what he was doing when he put man and woman together, because we complement each other. There's some things that I can do for him that he can't do for himself, and vice versa. And the fact that we want to take care of one another, that we want to do whatever we can, that we're willing to make the sacrifices that are necessary to keep us as good as we can be until we're no longer here. You know, people have told me I've spoiled my husband. Oh yeah, okay, so what? He's my husband and he's worth spoiling. So I've learned to spoil him, and that's okay. You know, and what you do is you pay each other back. Mm-hmm. If you want to look at it that way, you pay each other back for all that you've done for me. I'm going to do as much for you, if not more. And it reverses. So the roles reverse, and you just do what you do because that's what God designed marriage for. Mm-hmm. You know, and if you look at the Old Testament, if you read some of Solomon's writings, and if you look at scripture, when it talks about marriage, it talks about the commitment of marriage and how important that is, because God created. Now, I don't know if men could really live on their own. Could you live without?
No, I wouldn't like it. No, not at all.
It'd be rough.
Yeah. So I think we complement one another. And God did it that way because he fashioned the woman to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. And so when those ways start to change, can you still love me? Yeah, because I love you for you, not how you look. Right. You know. Right. Although you don't want to marry a wolf, you know.
Can she cook?
Yeah, you know. Oh, and I didn't know how to cook when I first got married.
Can the wolf, if the wolf can throw down in the kitchen, then well, I don't know. Maybe wasn't that a song in the 70s?
No.
What it was like, man, they were talking, the guys were talking, it was like, man, your girl, ooh, your woman is, you know, but then the guy went, man, but she can cook. It's in the song, man.
It is in the song.
It's in the song. I can't remember.
I don't remember it.
I don't know.
They're talking. They're saying it right before the song starts or something.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Man, she can cook. Oh, yeah.
But one thing I do like what you're saying, and I want to make sure it's clear, it's not that 50-50. It's I give 100, he gives 100. We give our all.
Not when I'm mad.
not
I ain't giving nothing.
Not that.
Maybe 5%. I don't know.
Not 8. That I give 50 and then I won't give more than 50 until he catch up with my 50. It can't work that way. My job is to give 500 and his job is to give his 100 to make it work to the full ability, you know. And yeah, we'll have days that we'll give 80, you know, 90, 70, you
Zero.
know.
Hey, I'm just being real.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons that grace is so important,
Yeah.
because everybody can't do 100% every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're running on zero, it's good to know that you have grace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, sometimes I don't know how to spell grace.
Yeah.
Is there an S in there, Pastor? Grace? Is there an S in there? I think I hear a G. I think I hear a G and an R. A G.
So let me say it another way.
A
It's good to know.
S. G-R-A-S.
It's good to know. It's good to know that the person they like you, and
Yes.
that they're you have favor with. They have favor for you.
Yes.
Like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think it's time to wrap up the show. Because he's in his own little world now.
He's still.
L-I. It's L-I. Is that a C? Like. L-I-C. L-I-C.
Okay.
It's the Joe Comedy Hour. Stay tuned.
I don't hear an E in there. Where the E at? I don't hear E.
You know, they say the English language is the most difficult to learn
Yes.
because we have a lot of letters that are just silent. You know,
Yeah.
so
You just gotta memorize.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing about the English language. You can't get there. Like a lot of part of the English language. See, education, I thought, you're supposed to get somewhere with it. You know what I mean? Like, I was educated. I'm supposed to be able to get there. But a lot of the words in the English language, it's just memorization because you can't get there.
Right.
You know,
right.
and that's what I was saying about I was kidding, but grace, if you try to sound it out, is it an S? I hear no E. So you can't get there. I don't know. Maybe I'll write a book or something.
Is there anything else that we're missing or that we need to discuss before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I'm looking at my Doritos right here.
Yeah, I just think it's really important to developing in our relationships the fact that we have goodwill for each other, and create a safe place. Because as you age, that becomes really important.
Mm-hmm.
It really becomes important to have a safe place so that you don't have to pretend to be somebody that you're not, and your mate's not disappointed in who you are, because you have realistic idea view of who humans actually are.
Mm-hmm.
And in the shift and balance of 100% to 5% to 0, you can match each other where you're low, you may be high, and that requires the favor, the grace, like Joe spelled it.
Trying
the grace,
to.
you know, because if you're low, you need grace, especially if this person is high. Because if you don't have grace, you're like, well, look at all I'm doing, and you ain't doing nothing. That doesn't do nothing but create problems in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So with the menopause, it's really important for guys to have grace and favor for their mate, for their wife, because they may be here today, they may be there, up here, down there, and so there needs to be a stabilizer in the relationship. I think one of the things that's really important for a woman in that going through that process is to know that her mate or her husband loves her.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stabilizer.
Mm-hmm.
So she don't have to be nothing but herself. If herself is up here, she can be herself. If herself is down here, she can be herself.
Or if herself is way
over here, she can be herself. Okay. And so what the anchor does is keep it together.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps so it doesn't go adrift. It doesn't go adrift, get into some dangerous waters and destroy and self-destruct.
Mm-hmm.
And with the guy, the reality is I don't need it's easier for me to be me, knowing that my wife loves me,
The
person, not the image, the person. So I don't go out at 90 years old trying to put on t-shirts and get some barbells and try to build some, biceps and triceps and end up killing yourself trying to be something that you can't do at that age. Well, I did it when I was 20. Yeah, but like Joe was saying, you're not 20 now. And so the thing is, when I was 20, she loved me. But she loved me when I'm 70.
Mm-hmm. More.
That's the thing.
More.
Yeah, and that's what relationships, a good one, brings to it. Mm-hmm. That's what a good relationship brings to this. Stability.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got a rated R rate on this thing.
Because they kids.
You talking about put an R rating up?
I'm just messing.
I know. It's what you do. It's what you do, Joe.
It's good. It's good. It's good. That's what I would say. That's what I would say.
Good stuff.
I think communication helps a lot too. So when you do feel like you're not yourself,
Mm-hmm.
let him know. So he can know, stay away, give me some space for what can I do, or just to deal with that. I'm just communicating something. I just don't feel right. I might not know how to explain it, but I just don't feel right. So I think that helps out a lot too.
Okay, another word.
Okay.
I know the K makes the cuss sound.
And
I know the K.
Tired and hungry.
He's on phonics.
I know the K. I know the K makes the cuss.
Okay.
So why does C sound like S?
Right. Right.
So
I thought we had a letter for that already.
is there anything else that we need to discuss or talk about?
No. Let's go.
He wants to get to his Doritos. Oh, no. Thank you for having us. It's always a pleasure to share what we know, what we've learned over the years, and to just share with those that may not have someone that can explain it and put it out there and have some fun with it at the same time. So thank you for the platform and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. And isn't this majority of it is temporarily, is like a 10-year period or something like that? The majority of it?
For some people, it can go longer.
Oh, it can?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You're going to need a lot of grace then. Jeez, 10 years?
GRASE.
But hopefully you'll get used to it before then, right? I mean, like
you know how long 10 years is? I remember being like 15 and I couldn't wait to get 18. You know how long that took?
but see, that's you. As you get older, you have more patience.
And time flies, huh?
Okay.
Hey, well.
Gotcha. Where did that 5 years go?
That 5 years ago. All right, did you hear that? That's that 5 year passing. No, I don't want to. No, you do the closing.
Okay. So I want to thank you guys and thank you for listening. And can you give your website?
Well, the Family Life website is https:// Family Life Institute IE.com. That's our website for relationship education. Kind of thing.
Cool. And listeners, thank you for listening and see you next time. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Take care.
Thank you. Take care.